outside of songwriting, you've written your song, you're an artist at home, let's say you're this 20-year-old kid that's learned to write, and you've got really good material. In the world we live in right now, I encourage people all the time, if you want to be in this game, learn to record yourself. And I know that, I mean, you're a studio engineer and you've got your own multiple studios. Tell me about what your thoughts are on how do you interact with other people these days with recording it? Now you got your material, what do you do next?
Right. Okay, so how I do it now. So I think that really really clicked for me during COVID, you know. And I think you knew about this album we were making. I didn't know you back then because I swear to God, I would have wanted you to be the producer, man. I'm telling you. But this album, I sort of got in touch with our common friends, you know, the Grammy team, Trevor, Cyril, Nicky, Chris, Tomiko, all these guys, you know. And I brought them in. I said, listen, guys, I've written the songs, you know, and I could have easily just I have a 3-piece band. It's always 3-piece. I do all the guitars, got a bass player and a drummer, boom, done. But I was like, I want to involve everybody because we were not going out and performing. There was no communication, or rather no interaction with people. And I was missing it. And we were like, let's do something together. And they started adding things to the song, you know. Like Sarita Thompson added trumpets to a song I would never add trumpets to. You know, Suzanne started adding saxophone to songs. And then Trevor added some guitars to my guitars. And we just had these 3-4 guitar players doing their own thing. It literally sounded like this massive production of so many 10, 15 musicians together in a studio. And they were all doing it in their home studios and sending it over to me, these WAV files. As we spoke yesterday, you know, you can work in any DAW now. And you just send the waves. Or WAVs, or whatever you call it, the waves. So they would, so they would send it over, and then I finally took it to Far Heath, which is the commercial studio which I'm partnered with, and then we just sat there and I produced it with the guy, and boom, number 8 on the Billboard Blues album charts. And this is, how cool is that? And this is all recorded at home. Yes, of course, I spend a lot of time when I come to the production part of it. I take it to some of the best studios and I spend a lot of time with that. But the main concept, the main tracks were recorded at home, you know. My drummer recorded the drums in my garage during COVID. Tell me,
you know, 3-piece band, did you guys record live or did you record to a click or how did you track that?
Always a click. Yeah, always a click, but live, if that makes sense, you know? So the drummer, we'll sort of go with the drummer, whatever he says. If he says he's played it correctly, we'll be like, we're not going to doubt you, you know, we're going to follow you. So if he messed up, and when I'm doing the final mix, I'll be like, dude, you screwed up big time, you know, and then we have to redo everything, you know. But yeah, I'll trust the guy, and he'll go with his click track, and then the bass player, you know, we play together, but usually I am tracking drums and bass separately. Even though we're all in the studio together, the drums and bass will go separate. And then I'll spend all night doing guitar parts because with Logic, I can do 20 guitar takes and then mix that guitar solo to sound so freaking cool. And then you go, how the hell do you play that live now?
That's the curse of it, right?
You know, but that is exactly. But yeah, that's what I do with the 3-piece band. I've done a few tracks that are completely live, one take, boom, except the vocals, of course. I'll redo the vocals a couple of times, but completely live. I like that sound, but there is something to be said about doing it in parts and, you know, that clean production, you know, that some songs just benefit from that.
Well, I'll use an example. I know you and I are going to collaborate on a song. We've talked about it. We don't know what it is yet. We don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah, I've got a few ideas. I was thinking about it yesterday to send over to you because you said you want to be part of it from the writing process. And I'm like, okay, shit. I'm going to have to send in the demos in a bad state. You know?
It's okay. It can be as ugly as it needs to be in the beginning. Nobody sees the ugliness at the end.
Yeah.
So,
but it's hidden between us, so it's okay.
What I was kind of going to get at is when I started to work in the business, if we were writing with let's say you and I are going to write together, we had to get together somewhere. And here you are on the other side of the pond.
Right.
And so I would either have to fly to you or you'd fly to me. Now, at least my approach with you is going to be
it's fine.
One of us, after we get the song worked out, one of us is going to start the basic tracks, and we're going to do that not in a giant commercial studio with a 200 channel Neve console and millions of mics. We're going to do it in smaller studios in our own. And that's kind of I don't know. You and I talked about this. We kind of miss the energy of just jamming in a room.
Yeah. I was telling you that yesterday, wasn't I? I mean, I just really miss that.
Do you think it'll ever come back, or do you think we'll just find a new way of capturing that?
No, I don't think it'll ever go away. You know what I mean? I mean, we're going to do a lot of stuff like this, what we're doing now, collaborating in the home studios and stuff. But as soon as you can afford it, like I would, if I could afford it, fly to New York and spend time in a massive studio with you and my musicians and, act like I'm still signed to Sony when they're just dumping money in, because I used to do that. I've done that, with an album, except that I don't like losing creative control. So I'd rather be independent because of that, But I remember the days when I was in these massive studios where it was all being paid for, and I could just waste my time doing nothing, They were just paying for it. Yeah, that's exactly right. But I do think when you have that sort of free flowing money coming in, you don't think about that, and then you can spend time in a studio where the atmosphere is just music all the time, and you can you get into that zone, And I try to recreate that in my home studios, in the commercial studios that I also own. I have the luxury of now going there and doing that, but I rather spend time at home now with my dog next to me, because there's a thing about that as well. When it comes to the basic songwriting structure, being around family helps you, But then when you're doing the more recording side of it, it's nice to be in a big studio where you don't have to worry about money and you can just keep going.
Well, and when you're in the big studio, you got an engineer behind the console, probably a producer in the control room. So you only really have to focus on your job. You don't have to do it. But these days, you almost have to self-produce, self-engineer, self-everything, at least at stages of the process.